Bijou Barbosa on the bass. Tom Litch wrote that song.
Hey everybody, my name is Bobby. Welcome to Mile High Church. Thank you so much for spending part of your weekend with us, especially if you're new. Our vision, Oneness Revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. Our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. Before we get started today, we want to give you a look at a few things coming up around Mile High Church for you and your family. Explore wisdom, rituals, and healing traditions of Celtic spirituality. Join Zamira Jazwirska for this class starting March 6th. Discover how Celtic spiritual traditions can be relevant in your spiritual practice. Learn the difference between contemplation and meditation and unlock a deeper connection with the divine at Rendezvous with God with Jackie Harris starting March 11th.
Rendezvous. Rendezvous.
Rendezvous. The whole thing? Rendezvous with God with Jackie Harris starting March 11th.
Hey, I want to tell everyone about two awesome things that happen every Wednesday. One, for online folks, Mile High Insight. It's just a few minutes of a sharing from a Mile High minister, followed by some prayer and meditation that releases every Wednesday morning. And then back on campus every Wednesday starting at 6:40 p.m., midweek renewal. It's an evening of spiritual practice that includes a minister message, music, meditation, prayer, forgiveness, ritual, community, and cookies. Hope to see you there.
For more information about anything you've heard today, stop by the Event Center or connect with us online at milehighchurch.org. It's rendezvous with God. That doesn't sound right.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hey, it's going to be above 40, I guarantee it. We're going to sing this song together. It's all about love. It's all about gathering to community. So let's sing this together, okay? All right, you guys ready? Here we go. One life living is you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. So happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. So happy, I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. Yes.
I won.
Yes, thank you, Tom Litch. Beautiful way to start our service. I was telling the 8 o'clock people that when it's as cold and snowy as it is, we're always so grateful to show up and have people join us. So thank you so much for coming out this morning. On this snowy morning, those of you at home, we hope that you're all cuddled and nice and warm, and we're cuddling each other here, right? Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, whether you're with us online or right here in this very room. And I declare that I love that we call this room we're in a sanctuary. And declare if you're watching online, wherever you are, you're also in this sanctuary with us. And we step into sanctuary as a safe haven, a safe space. And so I'm declaring this next hour that we spend together an opportunity to step into spiritual community together, to set aside the issues of the day that might be bothering us about our life or our world, and step into this safe space where we have a chance to be together, to love each other, to stand in this wonderful time of community and light, to grow together and to reveal our own spiritual magnificence. So welcome to Sanctuary today, a safe spiritual space. We're delighted to have you here with us, and one of the things that makes us a safe spiritual space is all are welcome here. All belief systems, all faith traditions, all life is welcome here in this beautiful, beautiful space that we get to share together. And we have a very compelling vision and mission for ourselves as a community, and I love for us to read it aloud. If you would join me, please. They're up here on the screens. Let's start with our vision. Oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. What a joy it is to remember these things. I invite us to take a deep breath as we step in together a little bit more deeply. Now, through some spiritual practice, we're going to sing together, have silence, and Reverend Carol will lead us in a prayer. Let's begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
How wonderful it is just to be in this space of stillness and silence, in this amazing sanctuary where so many prayers have been said. And whether we are here or at home, wherever we are, God is. There is nowhere God is not. And as I look out onto this beautiful snowy morning and the pink sunrise, I am reminded of the individuality of snowflakes. And just like those snowflakes, each and every one of us is this beautifully crafted, wonderfully unique emanation of spirit. We are worthy. We are valued. We make a difference. And when we all come together and express those divine qualities of patience, compassion, kindness, joy, and love, we can make a huge difference in our world. And so I recognize this morning that we are spaces of healing. We are divine spaces of clarity. We are spaces of joy. But most of all, we are spaces of love. And as we breathe that in and allow our hearts to expand, we recognize that we are expressions of God. And so this morning I give thanks. Give thanks for the blessing that each and every one of you are. Give thanks for the blessings of Mile High Church, for all the amazing work we do in the community, for all the loving hands that come together to create this beautiful spiritual community. And so it's with a heart full of love and thanksgiving that I just release these words and these truths into that beautiful alchemy of love and law, knowing that all is well because all is God, and so it is.
The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes and then disappear. This beautiful life, what is it for? to learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. Oh, love, 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 love. We all make mistakes. No, we're not perfect yet. Maybe God made us all from an accident. And the question that sits on everyone's lips is, why should we pick ourselves up and start all over again? There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Oh, love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. The question I'll ask till the end of my days is, what did I give? Oh, and what did I take? There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. Oh, love, 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 love. Love is still the answer.
Our words of inspiration today come from Maya Angelou. We uncustom to courage, excel from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness, until love leaves its high holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train comes ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient history of pain. Yet, if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our soul. Many times we are weary, so weary, and in the flush of love's light, though, we dare be brave. And suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it's only love which sets us free. And from Max Muller, a flower cannot bloom without sunshine and cannot live without love.
Don't give up. It's just the weight of the world. When your heart's heavy, I will lift it for you. Don't give up, because you want to be heard. If silence keeps you, I will break it for you. Everybody wants to be understood. Well, I can hear you. Everybody wants to be loved. Don't give up, because you are loved. Don't give up. It's just the hurt that you hide. When your heart's heavy, I'll be there to find you. Don't give up, because you want to burn bright. If darkness binds you, I will shine to guide you. Everybody wants to be understood. Well, I can hear you. And everybody wants to be loved. Don't give up, because you are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Don't give up, because you are
Thank you, Tom Litch, our music director. Wonderful job. Thank you so much. Great song. Thank you. Bijou, Mike, Rob, thank you, gentlemen. Wonderful, wonderful. I love that Josh Groban song. I listen to it for encouragement. I feel like it's the voice of the divine, shouting, screaming, reminding us all, don't give up, you're loved. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're walking through, whatever challenges we face. And today, because it is the Sunday of the weekend of Valentine's Day, have you heard a little theme going on here by some chance? Kind of a love, not a love shack, but a love talk going on. A love talk, a love day, a day to bask in love here together in our community. And my husband Ken reminded me that it was 12 years ago this weekend that I showed up here to be a guest speaker, and then a few months later was hired to come and work here. And so I think that's pretty wonderful to be harkened back to that weekend. 12 years ago. A few things have gone down since then. Have you noticed that? A few things have happened. 12 years. A lot has happened. My title today for this talk is The Fall into Love. Now, we hear a lot about falling in love and falling for love and falling. He's falling. You can fall in love with a new restaurant. You can fall in love with your shoes you love. You can fall in love with people. You can fall in love with an experience you've had or a place you've been, that sort of thing. And that's all wonderful, and I'm including a lot of that in today. And just notice that my title is The Fall into Love. The Fall into Love. And I really started thinking about how much we talk about love, like we're falling in love, we're falling in this, we're falling in that. And at the same time, I noticed that as human beings, the opposite is pretty much true, isn't it? Like we resist and don't want to fall at all costs. Spend a lot of time learning to walk and not fall down. And then as we grow older, I know some of us are doing exercises and things to stay centered so that if we were to fall, we could get back up, or it wouldn't be so treacherous if we actually did fall, right? So everything becomes about resisting the temptation to fall or the possibility of falling. I was hearkening back to a number of years ago. I took rollerblading lessons, and the teacher took us to a park and put us on grass with mats and all the accoutrement you put on for rollerblading, and then she made us learn how to fall. First, before we ever went skating, she taught us how to fall. And being the little optimist that I am, and rather arrogant, I was an ice skater. I'm sure I could get out there and skate. I was a little bit perturbed by this, I do have to say. And yet, what I learned from that experience is that when I could fall more easily, I could get up more easily, and that falling was going to be part of the experience, possibly, of rollerblading. And if I couldn't be okay with falling, I shouldn't try. And so it turns out it was a good exercise. It was a good thing for me to do. And so falling is a huge part of what happens when we contemplate love. And I think it's so interesting. And I'm inviting us to consider today learning how to fall into love more courageously, powerfully, doing what it's going to take in our lives with the people we share our life with every day, or occasionally with people we work with our friends, and with the world at large. What will it take for us to fall more into love instead of the opposite? A quote that I think is really significant and is a cornerstone of today's message is from one of my favorite poets, Rumi. Rumi says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely," he says merely, kind of casually there, "merely to seek to find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." All the barriers we have built within ourselves against love. We justify these barriers a lot. And yet, love requires a fall. It requires courage. It requires some things that we have to give up in order to have it at the deepest level. And I'm not just talking the love of people and the approval of people, which is part of our love story, is that we love to feel loved and accepted by other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get it, yet that's become the end-all, be-all for some of us. And there's a deeper love available to us if we're willing to fall into it. My husband and I have season tickets to the Broncos games, which I'm very grateful for. I am a football fan, in case you didn't know it. And I have to admit that there is something that is more joyful to me than watching the football game when we go to the games. And it is the guys who parachute into the stadium, the thunderstorm. And every time they parachute into the stadium, Alan Roach, the announcer, will say something basically like, and now the thunderstorm paratroopers or parachuters are jumping out of a perfectly good airplane into the stadium. And we have a picture of it where they will put on a camera showing themselves jumping into the stadium. Now, jumping takes a lot of courage, I would think. And falling. Imagine jumping out of that plane. Some of you have probably done it. I haven't yet to do it. But jumping out of that plane and the fall, what a trust fall, right? They've got their thing that they're gliding, and I'm fascinated that they can steer themselves and they can come down into the stadium, and sometimes they land on a little piece of something that's not much bigger than this, and I just don't know how in the world they do that. But the little girl inside of me is completely delighted by it. And I'm completely delighted when I feel myself or any of us make a choice like that. When I think about humanity and the things that humanity has faced in our history and the things that we've faced in our personal lives and in the world we've shared together, there have been times when we've been being asked to jump out of an airplane in order to fall into love, to have the courage to jump. And the question becomes, will we do it? Will we accept the challenge? Will we deepen and fall more deeply into the profound love that is calling to us? And so there are two major ways that I think we can encourage ourselves and support ourselves and step into that fall more gracefully and consciously. And I accept that they're not the easiest thing to do. Indeed, today I feel like this message might appear at first glance to be somewhat simple. Just love. But it's one of the most challenging things we're invited to do, isn't it? And for eons, we've seen people invite us to it. Great teachers and thinkers and spiritual leaders have challenged us to fall into love. The great teacher Jesus himself, his entire ministry, one could argue, was all about love. Loving everyone, no matter what. Loving our enemies, no matter what. In more modern times, we see I would say, ministries and work of Mahatma Gandhi and nonviolence and the great late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his dedication to nonviolence, all born out of a deeper love. What if instead of hating each other, what if instead of criticizing each other, what if instead of creating this sense of polarity, we instead found ways to be, live, act, speak in every relationship and in every realm of our life from love? That's the question we've been being asked. And we continue to be asked. And I think we continue to be asked it because it's our nature. It's who we are at the deepest part of our being. And we have to, at some point, make a commitment to take that fall. Just like those guys have to make a commitment to jump out of that perfectly good airplane. We have to make a commitment to jump out of our perfectly good ideas about things into love. And it can be very risky. So the two things that I think will help us the most, the first one, we have to be willing to jump into or fall into profound growth. Profound growth. I think we have this romanticized projection with most relationships that we'll go out into the world, we'll find friends, we'll find people we love working with. If we're interested, we'll find a life partner. And once we find them, everything will be perfect. There's some laughter, you notice that? Some people know that may not be true. It is perfect, but maybe not in the way we humans have decided it would be perfect. So if we go back to Rumi's quote about removing the barriers, I think a part of that is that the profound growth that love asks us to enter into includes this. You and I have been living our life and having relationships and connections with people all of our lives. We all have a family of origin. We all had friends and grandparents and aunts and uncles and teachers and mentors and tormentors and people in our life who were part of our living. And through all of those relationships, especially when we were young, we came to conclusions about ourselves and about life and about relationships and about love. Those conclusions, decisions that we made early on, live in the deepest recesses of our minds, and they become, if they're not positive, barriers to love. Some of them are perfectly positive, right? I personally have a belief and have since I was a little kid that it's easy for me to make and have friends. Never have really had any doubt about that. Not that every friendship I've ever had has gone perfectly or I've gotten along perfectly well or never had a disagreement with a friend, but I find friendships to be fairly easygoing. In other parts of my life, I found other relationships challenging. What barriers live in me that I have to remove in order to have a different experience? Because we teach here that consciousness creates. We teach here that there's a law pouring through us that uses our consciousness to draw people and experiences to us. And nowadays, even in the world of brain science, they're absolutely accepting and seeing that our brains, at the very least, even if you're not sure you've bought into that whole notion that we attract things to us, our brains absolutely scan environments, always looking for what we already believe is true. Always looking for who we already think might be a fit for us. But the way we look and the way we do that search, as long as those barriers remain unhealed within us, is with barriers on board. And therefore, what happens is you think, oh, that is the perfect job for me. Those people are amazing. That's the perfect person for me to be in relationship with. I just know they're perfect. They're perfect for you. In every way that you have great love to give and in all your barriers. And every barrier that we have to love, deep, abiding, profound love, is activated in our closest relationships. Please tell me I'm not the only one in the room who's had that experience. This is the way it's designed. Not because anyone wants to punish us, but because in order to have love, true love, with any other human being, we have to be willing to walk the holy, sacred walk of profound growth. Growth that allows us to see those barriers as they rise up and say, oh, I have a barrier that believes that I'm unworthy. And so every time this person says or does, I feel unworthy. I have a barrier within me that says I'm unlovable. Or I have a barrier that says that when I get criticized, I should run, whatever it might be. And when we feel those barriers that are wreaking havoc within our relationships rise up, the temptation is to run. The person who wants to and chooses to fall into love, however, takes it on. and says, this is an opportunity for me to grow. And I will do that work. I will oftentimes need to forgive the person who taught me that this was the way I should behave or taught me that belief about myself. I might have to do some work with a practitioner or someone to help me have a more objective viewpoint of myself. I might have to enter into conscious, active ways of loving and appreciating myself, new self-talk, whatever it might be. But I have to grow, and I shall do it fearlessly and powerfully because I want to and I choose to experience deepened love within my relationships. This is the power of this. And it can be challenging. I found a comedian who wrote about relationships and had a few quips I thought I would share, romantic relationships, just to kind of give us a little levity for the day, who said, relationships are just two people constantly asking, what do you want to eat? This is my favorite. Marriage is like a walk in the park, Jurassic Park. Falling in love is easy. Staying in love is like juggling fire while blindfolded. Yeah, there could be a little bit of that. But we are always being invited through all of our relationships, not just marriages or long-term commitment relationships, through all of our relationships, to do that work, to grow, to step in, to remove the barriers, to allow those barriers to begin to fall away. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says to us, there is no fear in love, and there is no liberation from fear without love. Fear is always based on the supposition that we are unprotected, rejected, friendless. If the fearful mind would entertain love and the harmony and peace that go with it, then it must turn from everything that denies this love and, trusting in divine guidance, open its being to the influx of love. Not just the love of God, but love of everything. For love is an all-inclusive conception. So we allow ourselves to fall into love by falling into growth, profound growth, and knowing and accepting every relationship that you and I have with any other human being, whether we know them or not. Our perceptions about every other being show us our barriers to love. And they're invitations to let go and to move more deeply and to ask ourselves, what would love do? And indeed, the next part then that comes right with that is the vulnerability to grow ourselves into, to fall into vulnerability, which is challenging. It's challenging from an interpersonal level, of course. We're talking about vulnerability with other human beings. To say to another human being, have a courageous conversation, or work an issue out, or come up against someone we vehemently disagree with and find a way to have conversations that are based in love and acceptance of each other. To fall into love this way and fall into vulnerability at that interpersonal level in the world of form is powerful. And that in itself is a doorway into that deeper love that calls to us. That deeper love that is the divine love as us. And this isn't just some little romantic, nice concept. This is a guiding force, a powerful force that supports us in everything and every way we choose to move forward. And it is an invitation constantly to firstly awaken to the reality that in order to experience and fall deeply into love, I've got to be vulnerable sometimes. I've got to share my heart. I've got to share my truth. And I've got to be vulnerable to the divine call within me. The divine call. And I say that we're vulnerable in this love because we often talk ourselves out of it so vehemently. I'd rather go on arguing to be right with you than listen to God's voice inside me, the love that lives inside me about what's mine to do. I'd rather be angry and righteous about things than really listen to how could I be a loving movement into the world of change and transformation in my family or in my work environment or in any part of my life. There's a deep call for us in that deep, deep listening. The human mind would say, I should be or do something, but the deeper part that wants to fall into love says, who am I going to be in this? And as I've been contemplating this week, I've been collecting things that have arisen in me about this kind of vulnerability, because I think it's really important for us to embrace it and understand it and choose it consciously. Because the most vulnerable love is a love that's transcendent of conditions and what is happening over there or out there. It's a commitment to say in our relationships, sometimes you don't say things that I like or I agree with. Sometimes you say things that I'm not happy you said. Sometimes you do things that are just don't make any gosh darn sense, right? We all know human beings who do that. Don't squeeze anybody's hand sitting right next to them right now. But what we also know is that there's a deeper love that we can access that can guide us in those interpersonal relationships and in my relationships in every part of my life. A love that's transcendent of conditions, that I can allow to have its way through me and in me and as I make choices about relationships. See, I think sometimes we think that it's either I'm a loving, kind person or I'm a grumpy kind of pushy person. But there's this place that says I can be loving and be the most activated in love, fall into love, and have the most loving boundaries. Some of us are really good at that with children, aren't we? We can say to a child that we love, oh yeah, I know you want to go jump off that cliff, and we're gonna come over here. Let's go over here. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Let's not do that. We can be very loving to kids, but not so loving to other individuals. Maybe one pathway to love that I'm talking about is to see each other as a bunch of sweet children wandering the planet together. And to be that love and to have boundaries if we need to have boundaries, yet always in love, always in light, always in joy, always from that deep place. Also, an inclusive love, vulnerable love. This is vulnerable love. An inclusive love, even of those who appear to oppose me. Isn't that what Jesus meant when he talked about loving our enemies? People who oppose us? I think my watch was just shining on Al's face. That's kind of interesting. Did I get you? To people who oppose us. To love our enemies. To step forward into that inclusive love. That's letting love have its way with us. That's falling into love. A love that is filled with guidance about what is mine to do and not too caught up in what you should do. A fall into love comes with a clarity. It's mine to take action in this way. It's mine to go out and make a change in this system or in this relationship or in our family or in the workplace. It's mine to go out into society and do something. And that kind of falling into love never has what anyone else needs to be doing. It's clarity. Because it's loving for me and allowing that inner place within me to be guided while accepting and affirming that everyone else has that same guidance, that same love on board that they can fall into, and trusting that they're falling into what serves them. A love that is born of a faith that no matter what happens, I have whatever I need to meet the challenges. To me, that's a bottom line thing that I'm striving for in being part of a spiritual community like this. It's kind of a thing that we hope for in spiritual traditions, that if we get on the best side of God, that no bad things will happen. Bad things just won't happen. The more spiritual you are, the more your consciousness is clean, the more loving you are, that always good things will happen. But we know that's just not true, is it? So we can't always spend our time defending against what if this bad thing happens, what if that bad things happen. But when I'm connected to that divine love within me, the more powerful stance I have is no matter what occurs, I can deal with it. I can handle it. I can move through it. I can survive, or I can thrive, or I can make choices for myself that serve me and my relationship and my family and my life. Powerful, powerful way to live, to fall into that. And to me, that is a vulnerability, because it means that we've got to let go of control, of this worldly form control that we think we can have, when all the while love, that voice of divine love is calling to us. And we can live a great life of love and joy. I want to close with one of my other favorite quotes with Ernest Holmes. He says, "The biggest life is the one that gives the most, loves the most, includes the most, has the greatest understanding and the greatest consciousness of eternal good, and redistributes this good to the largest number of people." To me, this is a great life, and it is the opportunity that's available to us if we are willing to fall into love and to allow ourselves to grow, fall into growth, and fall into vulnerability. And in those two pathways of falling, what emerges in us, as us, is the centeredness of us, pure, ready to be a loving presence of light. This week as we go forth, I urge us in all of our relationships, in all of our choices, in everything we do to take care of ourselves and other people, I invite us to fall into love over and over and over. And let's do that now together as we pray. We fall into love. I love how Dr. Barry always says we fall into our hearts. And I invite our practitioner prayer partners to stand with me now as we pray this prayer together. And remind us all that at the end of the service, if there are opportunities before you or challenges before you that you'd like to receive an affirmative prayer about, please come forward. Our practitioner prayer partners will be right down here in the front to receive you and pray for you and pray with you. And here and now, I stand in this prayer of the awareness of the divine presence that God is, the truest love of all, the guiding force, the love that calls to humanity loudly and clearly. And each one of us is living in a place of listening right here and right now that allows us to accept and see and honor that love that God is through all things, all people, all experiences, and allows us to more deeply fall into that sense of self as divine love. That place where we accept and affirm who and what we are, and we celebrate this love and feel the growth and the opportunity and the invitation into that vulnerable, sweet space of letting go of all barriers that we have had up until now in our way to love, deep, profound love. Letting go and feeling the guidance of our own lives calling us forth. And so we are absolutely the expression of this love and light this day and every day. I accept and bless us in this awareness and absolutely affirm that we go forth from this place carrying this opening within us even the conversation and questioning more deeply anything about this love that allows us to open our hearts and our being to it. We are blessed. And I'm so grateful to accept and affirm this. And it is in that blessedness that I just simply release this word into that law that makes it so. I let it go. I let it be. I know that as it has been spoken, it is done. And I'm so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
The question I'll ask at the end of my days is, how much love did I give and how much did I take? Well, there's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, no, love is still the answer. Yes, love is still the answer.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, thank you. We're going to move into our time of sharing tithes and offerings. And to do that, I want to acknowledge that one of the things that happens when we give into the Sunday services, that our gifts go into the Mile High Fund, it allows us to do the things that we do around here that I think are normal, that we see and accept, but don't often think, oh, my giving not only allows me to circulate my good and stand in abundance, but it allows them to turn on the lights and have staff and pay their staff and have the work done that needs to be done so that we can all be together. And so one of the things I want to acknowledge, we want to acknowledge today, is that one of our staff members of our amazing team of people, many of whom have been here for a long, long time, is celebrating as of yesterday his 30th anniversary with us. And many of you see him every single week here at Mile High Church. He is our sound manager, Nathan Marshall. And they're going to play some of his music as he comes forward. Nathan loves heavy metal music, so we had to get some of that in, so no complaints about sound today, okay? We did it on purpose for him. But we also had a number of people, staff here and people out in the lobby, sign posters of love for Nathan, because Nathan is a powerful presence here in our community. He looks so young, it's hard. He was only like 4 years old, right, when he started working, but 30 years of serving this community. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And not only does he serve, he is very skilled at what he does. He continues to learn and grow in his art and his work here as our sound manager. He continues to always want to make things here better for us. He takes his work very seriously, and he's also such a loving presence most of the time. Yeah, well, yeah. He's always such a loving presence and so dedicated to this community. And I know for many of you, he's your friend, isn't he? You've hung out with him, you love him, you talk to him, you see him all the time. Thank you, Nathan Marshall. I love you, we appreciate you, and we are so grateful for you. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Oh, we got a little whiskey in there from Kennedy, all right? over 30 years ago. Where I was. Kind of amazing, huh? Wow. So we also had a card there from the practitioners. Thank you from our practitioner prayer partners for signing that card for Nathan, and we're really grateful. And so in that gratitude, you can now give the ways you normally do in the baskets, text to give, online. We're so grateful for all the generosity that comes our way. And let us affirm today about the truth of our abundance. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Sometimes I forget where I come from. Sometimes I forget where I'm going to. Sometimes I get so confused I lose my way. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Then I remember there is nowhere that God is not. There is nowhere that God is not. There is nowhere that God is not. Everywhere I am, I know what I got. Sometimes I believe in what I see. Sometimes I believe in what I perceive. Sometimes I get so confused I lose my way. Sometimes I don't know what to say. All right, sing along with me. And I remember there is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. There is nowhere that God is not. There is nowhere that God is not. 'Cause everywhere I am, I know what I got. Oh, I forgot to pray, forgot to be still and know. Forgot to forgive myself until I forget myself. I've got to ask for help. I forgot to say a single word. Forgot to believe in me, believe in my spirit world. Yeah. Rock, Lord. Then I remember there is nowhere that God is not. No, no, no. There is nowhere that God is not. There is nowhere that God is not. 'Cause everywhere I am, I know what I got. Everywhere I am, I know what I got. Everywhere I am, I know what I got.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just made a comment to Michelle that I think we ought to hear the steel guitar from Tom more often. Yeah. And the world's greatest church band ever. And thank you, Michelle, for an incredible message on love. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So hopefully some of you are here for the first time, and if you are, we're glad to meet you out at our Welcome Center, and we have this little bag filled with goodies. So you might want to come by and just say hi, and we welcome you to Mile High.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patty, and we're so grateful that you're here. We got a couple things coming up we want you to know about. Our Sacred Earth Ministry has a movie that they're going to be showing coming up on the 21st, Friday night from 7 to 8:30. The movie is Dive. It's Living Off America's Waste. That's really interesting. It's going to be a great...
You all want to be there.
Yeah, so please show up and watch this wonderful movie with the Sacred Earth Ministry. And we have our Beyond Divorce class starting on March 3rd. If you've experienced divorce or going through one, need support through that, this is a wonderful opportunity, and you need to sign up by the 26th of February to get into that class. So we encourage you to go out to the event center or online and sign up for that. And lastly, today out in the lobby, it's still Foundation February. We've got folks from our Mile High Church Foundation out there. If you're interested in learning how to become a Nautilus member, a legacy donor to our community, that's the place to go to talk to those wonderful folks more about that. Please stand with me now as we do our benediction and peace song. Please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is all that I am. I fall into love. Thank you, life. And so it is.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our power, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.